Everything we experience in life is shaped by expectation, perception, and subconscious programming, and I just had proof of it in the most unexpected way. Recently, my son and I decided to do a blind taste test of several milk chocolate brands. I was convinced I knew my favorites, that I could tell the difference, and that my taste buds would instantly recognize the best quality. But what happened shocked me. When I tasted them blindly, they all tasted the same. The brands I was sure I'd love didn't stand out at all. Everything blended together, and I suddenly realized, had I ever truly tasted the chocolate, or had I only been tasting my expectations? Even stranger, my son did much better than me. He was able to pick out flavors and textures with far more accuracy. Was this because he's younger? Less conditioned? More present? That's when I started thinking about how this connects to everything: manifestation, quantum shifting, the placebo effect, and how we create our reality. So let's go deep into what this really means. Your brain doesn't see reality, it predicts it. Neuroscience proves that your brain does not passively observe the world, it constructs it. Your mind takes in information from your senses, but instead of processing everything in real time, it relies on patterns, expectations, and past experiences to predict what something should feel like, taste like, or be like. In my chocolate test, I thought I knew what each brand should taste like. My mind was filling in the gaps before I even took a bite. When I removed visual cues and expectations, my brain had no framework to follow. Without the labels, packaging, and branding, I was left with only the raw sensory experience. And that's when I realized, this is exactly how we experience everything in life. You don't see the world as it is. You see it as you expect it to be. Now let's discuss the placebo effect and why expectation creates reality. The placebo effect is one of the most powerful examples of how our beliefs physically alter reality. If you believe a sugar pill is a powerful drug, your brain creates the expected response. If you expect pain relief, your body releases endorphins as if you actually took medicine. If you expect something to taste better because it's expensive, your brain amplifies pleasure signals. In my chocolate test, my brain had been manufacturing taste differences based on branding alone. But once I removed the external factors, I realized those differences were never real. They were created in my mind. Now think about how this applies to your life. What if your limitations are just labels your brain has accepted? What if your reality is not something you experience, but something you project? What if your current circumstances are just the result of an unconscious placebo effect, repeating the story you've always believed? What happens when you remove the labels? When you remove the past conditioning, what reality is actually there underneath? So why my son do better, and what does that mean about perception? The part that fascinated me the most was how much better my son did. Was it because he was younger? Less conditioned? More open to the raw experience? The answer is yes, and here's why. As we grow up, we develop stronger mental filters based on experiences, advertising, culture, and subconscious beliefs. Children have less cognitive bias. They are not as influenced by packaging, branding, or expectation. More sensory presence. They engage fully in the moment without past experiences interfering. Less need to be right. They are not attached to their opinions being validated, so they experience things as they are. Adults, on the other hand, have pre-programmed reality filters that override raw experience. We think we already know what we like, so we don't actually experience new things fully. We are more conditioned by marketing, societal beliefs, and repetition. We create confirmation bias. If we expect something to be bad, we will experience it that way. This is why children can experience awe, wonder, and magic in everyday life, because their brains are not filtering reality through as much expectation and assumption. But the good news? We can retrain our minds to experience reality fully again. Let's see how this connects to manifestation and the quantum field. In quantum mechanics, the observer effect states that particles exist in multiple states until they are observed. This means that reality itself is shaped by the act of perception. If everything is energy, vibrating at different frequencies, then your reality is just the frequency you are tuned into. If you believe life is hard, your brain filters out ease and opportunities. If you believe money is scarce, your brain will highlight lack and ignore abundance. If you believe love is painful, your mind will reinforce those patterns over and over. The same way my brain overlaid expectations on chocolate is the same way we overlay expectations on reality. So what happens when you remove those expectations? What happens when you start seeing life as it is, not as you've been conditioned to see it? You shift. Your reality shifts. The quantum field responds. How can we apply this to our lives right now? Your subconscious is shaping everything you experience. But the moment you recognize it, you can change it. Step 1. Identify where your mind is running on autopilot. Ask yourself, what do I think I already know about myself and my reality? Where do I assume things must be a certain way? Where am I experiencing chocolate taste test moments in my life, where things may not actually be as I believe? Step 2. Disrupt the loop. Do something unexpected. Try seeing an old situation with new eyes. Question whether your belief is true or just familiar. Step 3. Shift to the frequency of what you desire. Instead of saying, I wish this would happen, declare, this is already mine. Instead of believing only past patterns, tune into what is possible. Act from the certainty of your new reality, not the hesitation of your past one. Your life is a continuous quantum taste test. What you expect, you will experience. Change the expectation, and you change the reality. I truly believe reality is a mirror of your mind. I thought I knew my chocolate preferences. I thought I could trust my taste buds. But I realized I was only experiencing my subconscious expectations. And if that's true for something as small as chocolate, how much of your entire reality is being shaped by invisible mental programming? This is your moment to question, reset, and realign. Your highest reality is already broadcasting. Will you tune in? Shift your frequency. Shift your reality. With Quantum Vibes,